Today on DirtGearTv, we're going to be definitively answering the age-old question, do turbo blankets actually work? I was looking into the effects of turbo blankets and are they effective, are they not effective, what are the pros and the cons of turbo blankets, and do they actually work? If the question that you're asking is, does a turbo blanket make a difference in temperatures? It absolutely does. The problem that I was having in finding information about turbo blankets is, are those results practically going to add some performance benefit to my particular vehicle? So today, that's exactly what we're going to be looking at, is are there practical performance increases after we've added a turbo blanket to our turbo system. So here I've got one turbo blanket that is specific to the KO4 and KO3 turbo systems. I'm guessing that the materials they're using in this, there's definitely a steel mesh on the inside here. It looks to be a fiberglass mat material if I had to take a guess at it. I don't know the full details of how this is put together, but I can tell you for sure it involves either wool, fiberglass, and or this appears to be a steel casing on the inside. Kind of looks like a diaper, but hey, maybe it'll look cooler on the vehicle. Number one, we are going to take some temperatures, and I've got a few tools to help us do that. We'll run the buggy around a bit, we'll get the turbo nice and hot, and then I'm going to be using this infrared thermometer to take some temperatures on the hot side of the turbo as well as the cold side or the intake side of the turbo. I also have a thermal imaging camera that we're going to be using to look at and compare the temperature differences. So I think the real question that most of us want to know, of course, is by having the turbo blanket, is that going to spool my turbo any faster? So that's the question that I'm going to be answering hopefully today. Now, if you're a little bit less familiar with how turbos actually work and how they produce boost pressure and horsepower to our engines, I've got a turbo here. Because this side of the turbo is so hot, hot gas expands. So as we're driving the hot gas through the hot side of the turbo, it's actually causing that gas to expand, driving the impeller faster and harder on this side, which in turn drives our impeller faster and harder on the cold side, drawing in more cool air. So the way for our turbos to work the most efficiently is we want the hot side of the turbo to remain hot, and we want the cold side of the turbo to stay cool and remain cool as we're driving our vehicle. The hotter the hot side is, and the colder the cold side of the turbo is, the more efficient our turbo is going to work to produce boost and stay within a healthy boost range for our compressors. Now, one of the benefits with the turbo blankets, besides the increased spool time, is that we're actually keeping a lot of the heat out of the cold side of the turbo. Because again, if this side starts to get hot, our turbo becomes less efficient because now we're blowing hot air into the engine. I would like to do all of our testing before the end of the night so that way our test can be as consistent as possible with humidity and temperature and just eliminate as many variables as possible. So let's head to the garage and start running this thing through. I let it warm up for about 10 to 15 minutes, then I took it for a spirited drive, took some data with it, and then after the spirited drive, I let it sit in the garage for another 15 minutes and just run and heat soak. All right, so we've got it just about as hot as it's ever going to get without me being on the track, of course. So let's shoot some temperatures. We're at about 430 degrees on the hot side of the turbo. Let me see if I can get that up any higher. 445, 460 degrees on the hot side of the turbo. The cold side of the turbo, I'm getting 142, 144 degrees. And just for kicks, let's check up here at the top on the side of the intercooler. Okay, on this side of the intercooler, we're getting 105 degrees. That's the warm side of the intercooler. On the cold side of the intercooler, we're getting 97 degrees. And we'll take a look at what this looks like through a thermal imager. I had a suspicion this might cause a problem with some of these inexpensive devices. This just says over. That's, of course, our turbo. So we'll let this thing cool off, and I will get our turbo blanket installed, and then we will check our engine temperatures again, which is helpful to some degree. Haha. But after that, the real test is going to be, is the engine spooling quicker? We're going to look at the before data, and we're going to look at the after data with our turbo blanket and see if we start getting more boost earlier on in that RPM range. Hey guys, welcome back to the next day. It is day 2. I know that I said I was hoping to get this done in a single day, but we just ran out of daylight before I could get this engine cooled down and be able to handle everything safely. I've got enough scars on my hands as it is. So we're day 2 here. Now the good news is that because this is Florida, it's just as hot and humid today as it was yesterday. Nothing ever changes. So let's get this thing installed, and then we'll do some runs and we'll check that data side by side and we'll see if it made a difference. Way less heat coming off. Much less heat. We're about at full operating temperature, almost 180 degrees.
Get out the way.
It wasn't running the last time we did this test, so we'll shut it down and we'll take the test the same way we did before. So the last time we did our temperatures, it was off, it was not running. It's been sitting for almost the identical amount of time. 122, 120, about 120. Yeah, 120. We'll check the hot side of the intercooler. Try not to get the radiator, but hey, that's good. 90 degrees. That's a far better result than where we were. 93. Pretty sure that that was over 100 last time. Right over the manifold. It's 170 degrees, so way less radiation heat coming off the back of this. Just standing here, I don't feel the heat blasting me like I normally do. This whole compartment back here is way cooler. The blanket itself, it is pretty hot. 190 degrees, that's a far cry from the 400, 460 or whatever that we were. Now before, this was just simply reading everything is over. And we can see that we have got a substantial difference. 200 degrees on the back side of the engine. Okay, so the results, they're in. And we've got a definitive result here. I think most of us would agree that yes, the turbo blankets work from a temperature standpoint. But what we all want to know is there a performance difference with the turbo blanket versus without the turbo blanket? So let's dig into the data and I'll show you guys these results. All right, so we've got our data pulled up here, and the biggest question I wanted answered was, is the turbo going to spool faster with the turbo blanket added to it than what it was without the turbo blanket? Okay, so the way that I'm going to read these data points is we're going to look at two RPM ranges. We will look at 2000 RPM we're going to look at 3,000 RPM and see what our respective boost pressures are at those RPMs. And then for the third data point, we're going to look at where we are able to hit 1 bar of boost. So 200 kPa is essentially going to be our max boost pressure, and we're going to look at what RPM we're able to achieve that 200 kPa. The green line is my TPS, so essentially this is how much throttle input I'm using, and I'm going to throw out any files that are using less than maximum throttle input, because again, we want to keep the results as consistent as possible. So I'm not going to use this file. This file is from the 29th of July. And this is the only other file that I have where I've got high TPS and I've got really low RPM, which is what we're looking for. So let's look at our first data point here, which would be 2,000 RPM, 2030. That's the specific RPM. Our map pressure is 104.1. Let's look at 3,000 RPM as this run continues. 3,019 is our RPM data point. And we have map pressure of 125.4. And we'll look at our final data point here. So we achieved 200.4 or 14.6 PSI, and we did that at 4163. Okay, this run was done on 8/21. We achieved a maximum of 232. Funny thing about this run is this is actually the highest pressures I've ever run. I mean, look at where we were. We were at almost 20 PSI, 19.2 PSI. And I remember doing this run. The only thing I don't have from this run is I don't have a low RPM. We'll use the maximum data point here because that one's a good data point. So we achieved 202 kPa at 4272. Okay, so our results are in. So we are missing just a couple of data points just because I wasn't fully on the throttle opening at these specific RPMs. So I don't have anything to include that's definitive with those points, but this gives us a pretty good idea of, is the turbo blanket actually helping our turbo to spool up quicker? Okay, so on 729, these are pretty accurate data points we have here. At 2,030 RPM, we had achieved a kPa map pressure of 104.1. Going down to after the blanket was installed at 2011 RPM, we've increased that several kPa. So we do see an increase here. Even though it's a small increase, it is still an increase. 3,000 is going to tell us a little bit more about what's going on here. On 729 at 3019 RPM, we were achieving 125.4 kPa. On 9/3, this was the day that we had done the run in third gear before I put the turbo blanket on that I had recorded from the garage. At 3,000 RPM, I was at 102.2, and that is pretty low. Most of my other data logs, I'll just throw this out there, that most of the other data logs that I've seen in the 3,000 RPM range are generally somewhere between about 130 to 140. So I'm not really sure why or what really happened here, why we were so low, but because that is part of the data points that we were tracking as I was doing the experiment, we're including it. Seems a little low to me, but it is what it is. 102.2, 3,000 RPM. So this would have been yesterday. After the turbo blanket went in at 3,000 RPM, I was hitting 151.9 kPa. And one thing I did notice from looking back at some of my older data logs is that the 151.9 is the highest result I've ever had at 3,000 RPM. To me, that's fairly significant. The number one question I wanted answered is how quickly can I achieve 1 bar of boost? And this is where it gets pretty interesting. So going back to 729, to achieve 1 bar of boost or 200.4 kPa map pressure, we were at 4,163 RPM. On 8/21, we did the exact same 200.4 kPa, and we did it at 4,272 RPM. On 9/3, this would have been the testing that I did from day one, where I took it around my neighborhood in third gear before the blanket went on. We achieved 202.7 at 4126. Now, this is where it gets interesting. After the turbo blanket went in yesterday, when I did this run, we achieved 1 bar of boost at 3874. Now, at this point, you may be thinking to yourself, well, Rick, you've only run effectively one data point for our after blanket result. Yes, that is true, because the buggy was having some axle issues afterwards. But here's what I can say, and why I can definitively say that we are spooling quicker with the turbo blanket, is I have gone back and I've looked at all of my logs, and I've specifically looked for the 1 bar that we achieve in all of those data logs. And across the board, it doesn't matter if I go back 6 months ago, if I go back 2 months ago, 3 months ago, when we were running the dyno, when I was out on the trails. In every single case, in order to achieve 1 bar of boost minimum or 200 kPa, every single one of those data logs is showing I was over 4,000 RPM. It did not matter what the VVT was doing. It didn't matter what my ignition advance was doing. They were all into the 4,000 RPM range. And generally speaking, they were about 4,100 to as much as 4,300 RPM in order for me to achieve that 1 bar of boost. And then the very first log that I took after the turbo blanket went on, the very first log, I was down at 3874. So to me, that's pretty definitive. Not only that, but we are significantly higher here in the 3,000 RPM range. So what does this actually mean in terms of PSI of boost? Well, let's look at that. Okay, so if you're somebody that prefers to look at the PSI versus the kPa, and that just makes a little bit more sense to you in terms of what you're used to hearing, the big results here really are with the blanket to achieve positive pressure. So we're at 1 PSI, we're at positive pressure at 2,000 RPM. That's really impressive. That's a better result than we achieved without the blanket on the date of 9.3 at 3,000 RPM. But also this one here is huge. 3,000 RPM, we're achieving 7.3 PSI. We can get this PSI in the RPM range is just going to translate to much quicker acceleration on the buggy. And then again at 1 bar, I mean, look at this. We're able to achieve 14.6 PSI at 3,800 RPM versus 41, 42, 41. And I've looked back at all of my other logs, and in every single case, these were over 4,000 RPM. So do turbo blankets work? Yes, they do actually help to spool your turbo faster. Even without the faster spooling, is going to be the fact that the temperatures around our engine compartment are kept a lot lower, protecting our paint, protecting our fueling temperatures. So that's, in my opinion, worth having alone, is just to keep those temperatures down, especially if you have your turbo under your hood and you want to keep the engine compartment temperatures lower. It's going to benefit you tremendously. So that's all I've got for you. I'm pretty stoked about these results. I think that between this and the recirculation valve, we're going to be able to be getting more boost into that lower part of the RPM range. And really, if I can have a lot more boost when I'm shifting from first to second and second to third, that's just going to mean faster lap times for me in the buggy next time I bring this thing out to break some records. So I'm Rick with DirtGearTv. I will see you guys in the next one.